Don't get yourself in trouble by declaring it now.
Exactly.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
Remember that? ObamaCare navigators caught encouraging individuals to commit tax fraud in order to get government subsidies. Well, now a new House committee report is bashing the program for misconduct like that, along with poor training and iffy protections for consumers' very private information. So, is it time to cast away these expensive taxpayer-funded navigators once and for all? Hi, everybody. I'm David Asman. Happy holidays. Welcome to Forbes on Fox. Let's go in focus with Steve Forbes, Mike Gozanian, Elizabeth McDonald, Bill Baldwin, Rick Unger, and John Tamny. John, is it time to get rid of the navigators?
Of course it is. It's wholly unnecessary to have government-trained community organizers helping people navigate the website. This is something insurance companies do every day, and they should have their employees do it. But the bigger picture in defense of these navigators is they're merely a symptom of the much bigger problem, which is the Obama administration's obnoxious conceit that it can create a health care market out of thin air. The better answer is to repeal it.
So Rick, John is for getting rid of them, but he's defending them. Did you hear that?
I heard that. I heard that. Look, John was right about one thing. He said insurance brokers do have people like this who help customers figure out what the best policy is for them. That's all the navigators are doing. I looked at the report from the House committee. It was ridiculous. They relied on data provided by James O'Keefe, who, by the way, while they're all concerned about criminal behavior, he's the only one who's been convicted of a misdemeanor and had to pay over six figures to settle the case. So, this is a tempest in the teapot. Leave these people alone. They're trying to do something good. There's lots of ways you can attack Obamacare. This is not the way to do it.
But they're doing it, EMAC, for a lot of money. The starting pay is $20 an hour. That goes up to $48 an hour. It's about $100,000 a year. And the question is how much bang for the buck we're getting. The state of Hawaii, by the way, the president just left for Hawaii on his vacation. He should know very well that there are only 500 enrollees in the state of Hawaii, and they've received $200 million for navigators and all sorts of means of getting people enrolled. That's $410,000 per enrollee.
Yeah, this is turning into a costly Jobs Act. I mean, we can't stop oversight of this. You heard it in the audio. I mean, they're navigators telling people how to underreport income to get tax subsidies. The health reform is turning into a real crass act. I just wish Nancy Pelosi had her own personal navigator to read the bill and everybody else in Congress to get their own navigator to read the bill to see the fallout from this. And by the way, why can't we get a state Xerox toner changer to do the job of helping people to figure out health reform? And the private market is already doing it. That's why we have insurance companies and 800 hotlines to help out.
Mac, where do you come up with a navigator to get Nancy Pelosi to read? I love that. Bill, what do you think? Time to get rid of these guys or not?
Get rid of navigators just because you don't like Obamacare? That's like saying we don't like the way the government laid out the highways, so let's outlaw Google Maps. Listen, life is complicated. Insurance is complicated. Government is complicated. You need guides, just the way you need guides to collect income taxes. How would we survive if we didn't have H&R Block, for example? Do you want to outlaw that because they're navigators?
Well, hold on a second. H&R Block has registered college graduates. A lot of them have CPAs. Steve, these people, you don't need a college education. You don't even need a criminal background check, as Sebelius just told us this week in front of a committee. And they have very sensitive information, our Social Security numbers, tax returns. Do we want people we know nothing about to have all this stuff?
No, David, and to say that, oh, you can get it by other means is not really the answer. The answer is these people are there because of the incompetency of government. The more incompetent it becomes, the more complex it becomes, the more people it has to hire. They fail, so they have to hire even more. So it's just more and more government bloat. And to have easy access to that kind of information with no safeguards, as you do, at least they try in the private sector, just shows this whole thing, go back to scratch, start over.
And I wonder why not just do it in the private sector, Mike Gozanian. We're spending $275 million on these navigators. Those are navigators for the state system.
David, Obamacare is built on a house of lies. The name should be really changed to Obama Lies. You can keep your doctor, he said.
That's
no.
creative.
You can keep your plan. No. It's as easy as shopping on Amazon. No. There won't be rationing. No. all lies. This whole plan, as John Tamny correctly points out, should be completely thrown out and obliterated.
Well, I don't get Bill Baldwin citing H&R Block as something that's a great thing because they need, they have a whole cottage industry to figure out that barbed wire pile of a tax code. Is that a good thing? That's the way health reform is. And I'll tell you something, the fact that these individuals who we don't know, when they don't have criminal background checks, have access to personal identification information and income information from the people signing up is really, really kind of dangerous.
Doesn't that concern you?
Actually, what amazes me, the whole H&R Block was a great example. And David, your response was interesting. They are not registered, these tax preparers. Many of them likely don't have college degrees, and you're giving them the same exact type of information. Why haven't you ever expressed concern about criminal back checks for people who are doing your tax returns?
And in fact, before I would entitle them to either my Social Security card or my tax returns, John Tamny, I would make sure that they weren't criminals or misusing that information.
H&R Block doesn't do it.
By the way, I am an H&R Block tax preparer. H&R Block does check into it.
Wow. John Tamny, go ahead.
And whether they're college educated or not is not the point. If H&R Block employees misuse private information, H&R Block goes out of business. If Obamacare navigators misuse that information, they will get more funding. There's a big difference between government-driven entities and the private sector.
Bill, you see that difference clearly, don't you?
Listen, there are crooked tax preparers out there. They go to jail. There are ways to deal with that. I'm not going to outlaw the tax preparation industry because I don't like the tax code. And by the way, Steve, I don't like it any more than you do.
But
we got to fill out those
H&R
Block.
Hold on. Go ahead, Steve.
H&R Block is a private company.
Right.
If they mess up, you can take them to court. These navigators, they're out of the hands of the citizens. When they mess up, the citizen is just out of luck.
And Mike, isn't it easier to hide this bad behavior in a government bureaucracy than it is in the private sector?
Well, we've seen that, David, when they've gone to testify before Congress. We can say certainly they've been less than forthcoming. But John Tamny, again, he's absolutely right. In the private sector, you're punished for doing illegal things or making mistakes. In government, you're rewarded. You're rewarded with more workers and more funding.
And, of course, John Tamny, you're also more efficient in the private sector. I mean, if private sector came out with numbers like these, spending that much money on that few enrollees, would they be in existence?
They would not. The private sector is more efficient because if you're not, you are put out of business. A business cannot exist without investment. If you're misusing capital, they put you out of business. In government, once again, when you fail upward on the way to more funding for your failed idea.
Clearly, you have seen that happen before, have you not, in government?
Well, yeah, sure you have. But I'll tell you what I'm finding really troubling. Why are you all presuming bad behavior on the part of these navigators? You had one bad
audio tape.
Wait. You had one bad apple. Guess what? There are people who have worked in this building where we're sitting who were turned out to be bad apples. You don't judge an entire class of people on that.
All right, so let's turn to blind eye and just throw more money down a rat hole.
Because
and
one bad
taxpayer
guy.
money. We're talking about government funding here, taxpayer-funded navigators here. Why can't you just get, again, a state employee or a local county, federal government employee to do this job?
And we've just seen this play out with the IRS targeting political people that Obama didn't like, and the testimony there in front of Congress where they lied.
And Steve, again, you had Sebelius in front of a committee saying, no, we don't have any criminal background checks, and yes, a criminal could get through. There is a possibility there. It's the lack of these checks and balances in this whole Obamacare thing that bothers most people.
Yeah, when you have a pot of honey out there, the flies are going to come to it. And when you have this kind of information with no safeguards, you know this thing is being hacked to kingdom come, and more scandals are to come.